Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are going to take a deeper look at the Kansept Hinterland, and just to find out if this is going to be a good knife for your collection, good for your EDC rotation, or not at all. Now, I've gotten to spend some time the last couple of days with the Kansept Hinterland, and I feel like I've gotten to know it pretty well, so let's jump into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the comfort, grip, ergonomics. We talked about this a little bit in the unboxing video, and my main complaint there was that my fingers are too fat to fit comfortably into both of these like finger grips, and I felt like it was kind of forcing my hand into a certain spot, and I didn't like that. I would prefer if this was knocked out completely and we had more of a pistol grip. Right? At the same time, though, I found that it wasn't as bad over long-term use as I thought it was going to be. So while it is a little, come on now, there we go. While it is a little frustrating, it didn't hinder my ability to use the knife at all. Otherwise, the edges are knocked down, and it's plenty comfortable back here, and then down here, if I grip a little bit lower and I'm not pushing on that point, it's plenty comfortable. I can choke up here, and it feels good. There's ways to make it work, right? And if you have smaller hands than me, I've got a large size glove. If you have smaller hands than me, then you shouldn't run into that issue at all. Now, as far as the carry profile, this carries well. I didn't have any issues with the clip. It's got good retention. I was able to slide it in my pocket pretty easy most of the time. Every now and again, I'd have to grab my jean pocket and hold it still, and then it would slip out of the pocket with relative ease. This knife isn't so big that it was cumbersome, but I also never forgot that it was in my pocket, right? Good news, I have my scale back, so we can get an accurate measurement on this guy. And I got my tape measure. All right, so as far as the weight goes, we're coming in at 4.4 ounces overall. So it's a little heavy, but really not too bad. And then as far as the length goes, for the blade, we've got, it looks like, about I want to say about 3 1/3 blade length, overall length. It looks like at the longest point we're at about 8.2 inches. So it's a full-size knife, nothing too crazy. Now, as far as the lockup and the deployment, we're sitting at about, I'd say a 40% lockup on the crossbar. Deployment, reliably, single, non-reversible thumb stud. Now, one thing, and I brought this up in the unboxing too with this stud, is the way it sits is it looks like it wants you to put your finger right there and deploy it, which you can do, but you kind of have to cat grip it over here, and it's not the most reliable. What I've been doing is just holding it like normal, putting my thumb underneath and flipping it out. That's reliable, it's comfortable, snaps out, no issues at all. As you saw earlier, I was trying to use this little fuller for the reverse flick, but this thing's fairly shallow and it's super smooth. So it can be done, but it's not the most satisfying, and you really have to commit to it. Like I haven't been able to just like freely, not even thinking about it, go back here and do it. And part of that's the blade weight too. Blade's a little heavy. But this is easy, reliable, and I really enjoy the acoustics of that lockup. It does have a nice, smooth, hydraulic shut. I really enjoy that. I was hoping the thumb stud would be reversible, but it's not, because over here it has a little, underneath the stud, it's got a little pit that it sits in, which isn't relevant over here. You don't have that. So underneath this, there's a bit of an indentation, a groove that this slips into. You don't have that over here, so you really can't reverse it, which is, I think, a huge miss. It's okay if it's single deployment, but you're gonna have some people that would rather trade out the thumb for the reverse flick, and I think that would be an easy option to have. This is lefty friendly because it's a bolster lock, so it's not hard to get back here and do a reverse flick, which is more satisfying than the thumb stud by a long shot, especially if you are a lefty. Fidget factor. The fidget factor is good if you're okay with the slow roll, right? I can fidget with this because I enjoy that positive snapping sound, right? But if you're somebody that needs multiple forms of deployment, this one is going to be, there we go, we're getting pretty consistent with the reverse. Maybe it just takes a little more practice. So, fidget factor isn't bad. There are far fidgetier knives in the market though, so if that's a priority, then this probably isn't going to be the best fit. Now, the things that I liked about this, I really like the blade shape for its cutting performance. This thing flew through boxes with ease, because it's got a nice belly. It's got thin geometry. It does have it's got a flat grind, but also it's got a nice pokey tip, so you can poke into the box and you can cut downwards. Really whatever you need to do. I mean, I don't do anything too hard, like open letters, break down boxes, break down Amazon boxes, or boxes that brought new knives in, stuff like that. So nothing too crazy. I do try to do, I don't know, 30 or 40 passes through boxes during my testing. That way I can, really get a feel for how the knife's going to perform over that type of workload. And overall, this one performed great. I really didn't have any issues with it. I do enjoy the action and the acoustics and the satisfaction of the thumb deployment. The things I didn't like are going to be the way these finger spacers kind of force me into a single position, and the non-reversible thumb stud. Now, this knife, if you were to buy it, this is going to be good for somebody who enjoys the, having some level of refinement to their knife. We've got this nice carbon fiber. We have this milled titanium bolster matching, or not milled, sorry, anodized titanium bolster, same anodization up here. We've got this really deep blue for all of the hardware. We have matching carbon fiber over here, which is a nice touch, anodized. We've got the blacked out pivot, which matches the blade. We've got the blacked out titanium pocket clip, and then we've got these blue back spacers that match the T6 hardware. I also don't like that it's T6 hardware. I don't think anybody does, but I know Kansept is stubborn with moving body screws to T8. Not sure why, but they are. But if you're looking for something that's got some refinement and aesthetics, it's capable of being an efficient cutter, and having overall solid performance, and your hand is in such a way that it fits these grips, then this knife is going to be a good option for you. Price point on this is coming in on the Kansept side at $205.89. Now, would I carry this knife? If I had it, because I don't own this knife, but if I had it, it would make it into my rotation. But this isn't something that I would actively reach for out of preference. It's just something that I would probably use to protect other knives that I have. I'm a 3-knife guy. I usually have a slip joint. Something like this, which I wouldn't call this a beater, but it would act as a beater. And then a much nicer knife that I use for very simple, very small tasks. Now, my recommendation for anybody watching is, while this knife does have some positives that I like about it, for the price of $205, I would say look within Kansept's own line for other knives that are going to give you more bang for your buck, right? So for instance, the Kansept Fermi, fantastic knife, the Fenrir, even the Orion, right? The Orion comes in a lower price point, has similar blade performance, has a thumb stud, they're rather a thumb disc that you can deploy from both sides. It even has milling in the handle, and it's got stepped milling in some of the versions. It's got stepped milling on the blade even, right? And that one's coming in at like $190. So, you know, Kansept does a great job with their knives, and while this model overall I think was a miss, they have some other knives that will absolutely do everything this one can and then some for right around the same price. So what do you think? Does the Hinterland deserve a spot in your collection or your EDC rotation? Drop a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on it. You know, did I completely miss the ball on this one? Do you own it, and have you had it for a really long time and you think it's the greatest thing ever? Yeah, just let me know. Beyond that, please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. We are doing a 500 subscriber giveaway. I've already got about 7 knives for it. So I'm hoping to get 2 or 3 more before we hit that 500 subscriber giveaway. And we will do that over a live stream. Every knife in the video that I mentioned or that was featured, the one featured, is going to be linked in the description, as well as my Instagram at Sever7, SEVR, so go take a look over there and check out some of my photos. I got some pretty wild knives over there. Otherwise, that's it for this video. So until next time, stay sharp.